Hello everyone, back with center pattern number 2, Night Off My Lawn, and I can't help but laugh every time I look at this name, even though I created this name. Okay, so what's this pattern all about? It looks, wow, this position looks so weird, complicated, and neither here nor there. What's it about? I'll explain in the next section, but first just look at this pattern, try to memorize it, try to think about it. I'll be explaining it in just a second. One thing to remember is not to take on d5, and I know all of this seems not to make sense. Just hold on. Next section I'll explain how the pattern plays out, and now you'll get to see what this pattern is all about. It's about pushing d5, and after e takes d5, you don't take like this, as was mentioned in one thing to remember. Don't take like this. Almost always you need to push e5, and that's the point of the pattern. You get a strong pawn on e5, and this d5 pawn becomes very weak because, well, the knight is going to leave this f6 square where it defends the pawn, and you have the knight and rook attacking this pawn, which is only defended by the queen. So I know this pattern still seems very abstract, but we're going to look at a sample game which will hopefully clarify matters. So this is a recent game, 2022, between Radjabov and Ariantari. So Timur Radjabov against Ariantari, and I'm flying through here. So yeah, h3, a6, and now we get to see the pattern. E takes, and Radjabov messes up by playing, after e takes he plays knight takes d5. Not part of the script. Now actually the best move was indeed e5. The problem is there were some complications that arise after this move, and Radjabov didn't want to see those complications. What are these complications? Well, they're the subject of our test, so I won't be revealing them now. So yeah, he messed up here by playing knight takes d5, and I should this mouse. So knight takes d5, and yeah, now the game is less interesting for our purposes. I'll still zoom through it. And by the way, just as I mentioned here, bishop h8 is one of our patterns, getting this queen here. I think it's in like category 7 of patterns. I don't know. Yeah. And yeah, here Radjabov was able to win anyway. So for our test, whoopsie daisy. So for our test, a game between Laznika, I'm sure I'm butchering the name, trying to think of a way to better pronounce it, but I'm not. Laznika, playing against Elshan Moradyabadi. So here we get to see the pattern, d5, e takes, and Laznika is aware, Victor is aware, he plays e5. So what is black's best response here? And yeah, try to figure out how black should respond. What's the common counter pattern to meet this pattern? It's something that Radjabov's opponent, had Radjabov played e5, Ariantari would have also replied in the same way. So try to figure that out, try to see what counter pattern we have here. Pause the video and try to figure that out. So the full game will reveal what was actually black's best course of action, which to Moradyabadi's credit, he did find. It's d4. This is a piece sacrifice. The point is that you get a lot of pawns. And if we go back actually to the Radjabov game, e5 here, d4 was also the best move, getting some strong pawns in return for the piece. So that's usually the counter sacrifice when white goes for this. But in both cases, in this game white won, and in the other game, the Radjabov game, white was also very much better, probably winning after that as well. But the piece sacrifice is a very interesting way to spice things up. You are down a piece, but these pawns are very powerful, and actually in this game it took a lot for Victor to convert this. I mean, these pawns look very scary, to be honest. But he was able to convert, and well, again, this isn't a game analysis video, so I'll try to zoom through here. The pawns do look quite menacing, I have to be honest, and in this endgame, like, I'm not sure white played this in the best fashion, the best way. Of course, allowing the draw, like here black was even winning, so they didn't accept the draw, they wanted to go for more, but eventually more turned out to less, because now the bishop is covering g2 and black has nothing. So yeah, very complicated game, again, not the subject of our video, and here white wins. So yeah, this was a very advanced pattern, I have to say, but the reason I love it is because you'll never, like, I've never seen anyone talk about this pattern. You only get to see strong players when they're discussing this pattern. Oh yeah, I know this pattern and whatever, but you never see it like covered in books or yeah, like it takes a lot for you to learn about this pattern. So that's why I'm doing these videos. Shortcut. It's a shortcut for you to become a stronger player. Now you might be like maybe a 1200 rated player and you know about this pattern. For me to have learned about this pattern, it took me like, I don't know, like I think I learned it like 2 years ago or something, and I've been playing chess for a decade. So yeah, that's the hope, guys, and that's the dream. So yeah, hope you learned something about this pattern. Very nice also with the counter piece sacrifice, something you have to remember about this pattern. You have to, like, when you get to play this pattern, it's great, but you have to remember that you're in for a complicated game if black knows this d4 move and sacrifices the piece. So yeah, with that, take care, guys, and yeah, thanks for watching.